Hello, internet friends. My name is Bay, and welcome to the Battle for Azeroth beta and the second pass for the very much different Demonology Warlock holy actual crap baskets. So I'm going to go over talent adjustments, spells and abilities lost or gained, or anything kept from your Legion artifact, and legendaries, or what the reworks are now. A new graphics, of which there are many. A brief overview of the war mode talents, and just as a blanket early statement, everything's on the GCD for Demonology, so outside of toggling off Burning Rush, the GCD changes do not impact the Demonology Warlock at all. There's no true gameplay in this series, however I will go over some builds and throw a bunch of spells at some target dummies, so consider this more of a one-man podcast walkthrough primer of what the Demonology Warlock looks like going from Legion into Battle for Azeroth. The entire 5 hours with much ranting, debate, discussion, Twitch VOD, the whole 5 hours of it is located in the video description box down below or on my channel guide, or of course just found on my Twitch channel, because there is a ridiculous amount we discussed and walked through, and towards like the tail hour and a half or so not showed up in chat, so we were bouncing ideas back and forth. So if you want to go check that out, please feel free to do so. And if you do enjoy the ramblings here on the YouTube channel, consider hitting the subscribe button, or you can do both and hit the bell icon next to subscribe, because that is the real subscribe button now, because YouTube things. Now, we're going to stand here for a little bit and just get caught up. There are a lot of changes. I'm going to slam up the talents real quick here, and I'm going to bring up your live talents just so you can follow along with me a little bit on this first section, because I'm going to go back and forth a little bit here. So, talent tree from live, you've lost Shadowy Inspiration, Shadow Flame, Impending Doom, Improved Dreadstalkers, Soul Harvest, Hand of Doom, Power Trip, all 3 Grimoire talents, the Dark Glare, and Demon Bolt, even though that's been reworked. And the Grimoire has been replaced with 1. Your new talents: Dreadlash, Demonic Strength, Bile Scourge Bombers, Power Siphon, Doom as a new talented version, From the Shadows, Inner Demons, the Grimoire Felguard. You have Sacrificed Souls, which is basically Demon Bolt reworked. You have Demonic Consumption, which is sort of a rework of Thalkael's Consumption. And the very lackluster Nether Portal. So, all of those are the back and forth on your talents from live to BFA. You also have no more life tap, mana tap, all that stuff is gone. That's across all warlocks. So, there's a whole lot to unpack here. So let me remove this so I don't forget about it and go through the spellbook real fast. So, there is no more demonic empowerment. Thank you. As all the warlock community cries out. There is no more demonic empowerment. Your mastery now is just called Master Demonologist, which just increases all the damage done by your demons by a flat amount. Now, it's your demons' subtext and the abilities your demons are part of. More on that in a little bit. Summon Infernal and Doomguard have been removed or replaced with your Demonic Commander, which has been renamed Demonic Tyrant. So Demonic Tyrant, your main DPS cooldown. When you summon the Demonic Tyrant, he pops out of a big old portal. He plops the Bloodlust effect on everyone's head. And what he does is he increases the duration of all your current demons by 15 seconds. And increases all the damage of your other demons by 15 seconds. Not sure if it's a bug or not, but you also, the Warlock, got the 15% damage buff. So you may be your own demon. In this case, I'm not entirely sure. But you also gain the 15% damage amp and all current demons. And I will say this again as I go through the video, but yet that means all demons summoned from any means, summoned from any talent or any ability, all demons. We have checked a lot of them. So your Dreadstalkers, for example, your core ability here, which don't get me started on this terrible, terrible tooltip. But your Dreadstalkers last 12 seconds base on a 20-second cooldown now, so they will add 15 seconds to them, depending on when you do snapshot the extra duration. So they'll go up to 27, 28 seconds. Your imps that are summoned through your Hand of Ghoulish Daniel. Hand of Gul'dan now is 1 to 3 soul shards for 1 to 3 imps. They last... Interestingly now, they have an energy system. So they actually only last 1.5 times 5 minus your haste, because they will cast 5 Fell Firebolts, which we'll see when we go into some bit of gameplay here. After they cast 5 Firebolts, they disappear. However, they will last, if the target dies, they will sit around up to 30 seconds. So you're going to see the default UI player frames here. We don't have any add-on player frames. They don't really work really well. The default player frames will not record this or reflect their duration properly, so don't get confused when you see like 4 or 5 lines of imps where I have summoned. The first 2 are probably gone. But they will last with their base duration plus 15 seconds, roughly 24 seconds or so. Your Grimoire Felguard, which is basically just your Grimoire of Service, but you just summon a Felguard. That's all you can really do with this talent. Will last up to 40 seconds. Vile Fiend, which is just a extra summoned pet cooldown, will last up to 30 seconds. And then any other demons, mostly summoned from Nether Portal or other means. Bile Scourge Bombers is not a demon summon. This does not count. But Nether Portal demons will last roughly 8 plus the 15 when they are summoned, depending on when you Demonic Tyrant into their durations. But that is a huge, big old change right there. Demon Wrath is gone. It has been replaced by the baseline version now of Implosion. Now, we unpacked this a lot at the beginning of the testing broadcast and a lot more towards the end when Not showed up. And we talked about how there's no cooldown on Implosion. However, going back to the energy system about the imps, Implosion deals damage to targets based on the imp's energy when you fling them to their inevitable demise. So the max damage is 591 Shadow Flame right now, but if you throw imps at less energy, they do less damage. So the best way to talk about Implosion is that it's overall a DPS loss on pure single target. You're never going to implode on pure single target. That is not a thing. On 2+, 3, definitely. And the way that the Warlocks are talking about this now is that it's a mobile talent, where if you are attacking one target and your imps are attacking one thing, you can target swap, implode them on the new target to not lose any damage, and then start back up on your next target. It has a lot of X to Y, Y to Z target switching on pure single target as you're going from target to target. But on actually, there's no benefit as currently balanced now. It is a DPS loss to implode on a actual single target. Another big change is that Doom is now a talent. I'm going to go over the target dummy real quick, because this is the first one that I want to start showing off some weird interactions. So Doom, historically, for the longest time for the Warlock, has a very known interaction that if you are a Warlock, you know how this works. So, you cast Doom. It will tick down faster based on your haste, like any other dot will. However, the new reworked version of Doom will only do damage at the end of its duration, generating 1 soul shard. You cannot refresh Doom at any point. If you refresh Doom now, it sort of keeps the snapshot in the duration of when the damage would naturally happen. Now, however, if you ever refresh Doom at any given time during the overall course that it runs down on the target, it will not do its damage where it think it should. It has to fall off. Has to fall off. That's a very different change. This could change as we get closer to launch. But if you, I'm going to refresh close to the end here. There is no pandemic either. It'll always go back to the 30 seconds minus your haste modifier. The 5% chance to summon a Doom Guard that fights for you for 25 seconds when Doom kills a target is kind of just flavor. Really, it's delayed soul shard generation, honestly, and it's a mobile talent. But you have to, see, it's not doing any damage. You have to let it fall off. So you cast Dooms, they have to fall off, then you would recast Doom, which is a fundamental change from how Doom works on live. So keep that in mind. And again, for imps, I'm going to throw some imps real quick here and show you. Whoops, I did replace Hand of Ghoulish Daniel in there. There we go. Imps summon from Hand of Gul'dan. Again, 1 to 3. I want to bring this up as a core function. They spawn in sort of a desynced pattern. And they do sort of have that spell. See, they disappear. I couldn't even implode them there. They do have a duration which they have to, you know, spawn to the Warlock. So you can't even spam Implosion immediately. And if you spam it too fast, you'll throw 1 imp and you'll get 2. So there is still that cast time back end. And of course, you're seeing the new cast animations here a little bit. So imploding properly and the timing therein is definitely going to be a little thing you have to work out and figure out and get a feel for and build some muscle memory. But they cast 5 times. You'll watch the imps cast 5 times. So we have 1. There goes Charlie. 2, 3, 4, and 5. More on what the passive procking up right here now is in a moment. I'm just kind of showing off spell animations. So there is no reason to implode them on single target unless you're hitting other things, because they're going to do less damage. Let me throw out some implosions now. All of them cast here. Here's all 3. Whoa! So they all did the 591 damage, except the initial landing hit of this one, because it was already using its energy. You see there, it's already at 473. Now, there is some weird shenanigans with the fact that, like, this energy didn't do damage the same way to AoE targets. But again, it's a really reworked version of Implosion. So that's something they'll have to work out and get the numbers fine-tuned. But now you saw these numbers. If I let them cast twice each and then implode them, you have the damage from the... These are crits. These are obviously going to throw off things. But this is obviously double damage. So this is way down here. This is full damage because the back 2 only had cast once. But the front one, again, had cast at least twice. So there's less damage there. So it's kind of weird. There's like this weird energy plateau. The one awkward thing about the default UI and why you might have to have a weak orb for this or something else is that you don't see the energy on your imps now. The default UI doesn't have any way to show this to you. So having an energy tracker or a better player frame that shows that for you to time implosion may be a thing, but that's not up to me. So there's a lot of new summoning pet sounds here as well. So if I just summon my, let me get some soul shards back. If I summon my Doomguard or any other pet, there's a new sound effect behind that. No, get back here. I didn't tell you to get in combat. What are you doing? So, no, get back here. Oh, these are all on assist, not defensive. And then the Felguard. That's the new summoning noise. Just small tweaks. There's also a lot of noise on your Demonic Circle and your Portal. These are really loud now. I don't know if this is the same thing as on live. But you can hear all this ambience over top of my music. These could be on live, though. But there's a lot of little minor changes to sounds and animations for Demonology. So that is one thing to look forward to. The Shadow Bolt, if you have been following along, has been changed, I think, 3 times now. You were throwing cubes at one point, which was awkward. So Drain Life baseline is now really just a heal. Drain Life does very little damage overall now, and is only just a heal. It still heals a pretty fair amount if I, you know, funnel a bunch of HP off to... Let's turn on Burning Rush real quick. It's not too bad, because it has a 500% modifier on the damage done from the actual Shadow Drain. So, but those that are wondering about standing in all the bad and healing through it, you kind of can, but you see right here with Burning Rush, it doesn't even overtake Burning Rush's damage. So I think you'll see the actual damage here. Of course, I'm getting the Soul Leech heal as well, but it's not too bad. You still have your actual HP healing. So, many graphical updates. So, Hand of Gul'dan, Shadow Bolt, Summon Dreadstalkers, Tyrant, Demonic Core stacks all have different animations now as well. Your Hand of Gul'dan, yep, 1 to 3 shards again. There's another Hand of Gul'dan. That is Thalkiel. If you do transmog to Thalkiel or any of the talking artifacts, they will all still talk and whisper to you. So we have Soulfire and Molten Core. So these were in an earlier build. So Soulfire now is Demonic Core, and your Molten Core is Demonic Core, and your Soulfire now is Demonic or Demon Bolt. These work fundamentally the same. So your Demon Bolt is a super long cast time, 4 seconds before haste, 4.5 seconds before haste, sorry, and deals heavy Shadow Flame damage, generating 2 soul shards. Of course, you can hard cast this. There's actually an Azerite trait that lets you hard cast it or procs to hard cast it that does even more damage, kind of like the Fire Mage Bracer effect with Pyroblast. But the main passive component here is Demonic Core. It's when your wild imps expend all of their energy or are imploded. This is per imp. You have a 10% chance to absorb their life essence, granting you a stack of Demonic Core. I'm actually going to summon a whole bunch of imps real quick here and let them time out in the background to see if it doesn't proc right now. If you stand on a barrel, they all summon here. That's why I was making like an imp turret. And when you summon your Dreadstalkers, and when they fade away, you have a 100% chance per Dreadstalker, didn't get any procs there, to have a stack of Demonic Core per Dreadstalker. And then the Demonic Core reduces the cast time of Demon Bolt by 100%. Up to 4 stacks can be held at any given time. So when these Dreadstalkers fade away, you'll get 2 stacks of Demonic Core. This is not only a generator, but the more imps you summon, basically imps, and obviously summoning your Dreadstalkers on cooldown 3 times a minute, there's the animation for it, gives you mobility and more shards. So the overall in and out of the rotation is that you are still a turret. That is definitely still a thing. You are still going to be quite a turret because of mainly Shadow Bolt spam. But the over and under of this is that throughout the rotation, you'll have periods of time with increased mobility, which you do not have any of right now, or very little in comparison. But you can get all your demons going here. You get my 2 more soul shards back up. I could have not. I wanted to get a lot of imps. I want the imps to proc. It's only 10% chance per imp. So we go one right there. Move over here, summon some more imps. So the overall mobility improvements just in this one passive are really, really overreaching for how the Demonology Warlock will play. There's some battle res changes overall here also. So your Soul Stone is still a 3-second cast time before haste, can be cast before or during combat. It's a 60-20 res. There is the cast time has returned to the rebirth effect from all of your druids, except if you're a bear, it costs 10 energy or 10 rage if you're a bear and it's instant because it only shifts out of bear form. Cats cost some energy and you can cast it in cat form, and then it's mana for both the Moonkin and the Tree Druid, and those are in the form, have a cast time. It's 2 seconds before haste. However, druids are 100% HP, 20% mana. And Death Knights are instant, but cost 30 runic power. Theirs is 60-20. All been changed slightly, but just so you are on the same page with that, since you are a resurrection class, a combat res class. Shadow Fury's baseline has a GCD cast time 3-second stun. All stuns have been reduced overall in their effectiveness. Still an 8-yard AoE stun with a 3-second duration. There's a new talent that reduces the actual cooldown by 15 seconds on the same row as your Molten Coil and your Demonic Circle. And you are seeing here the Demonic Circle is back to 2 buttons when you actually do take it. So you have the Demonic Circle teleport and the actual casting of the Demonic Circle now. Dark Pact, Burning Rush, and Demon Skin have all been unchanged. But on the note of Demon Skin real quick, Your Soul Leech is down to 8% of your damage becomes the heal, and only 10% of the, 8% of the damage goes to the shield, and only 10% of your max health can be the shield, which is down a little bit from live. And the Soul Link is still 20% damage, and then 25% of the 8% is the heal for you, 50% of it for your pet. So slight tweaks from live, mostly the Soul Leech category, again reducing the self-sustain survivability of the Warlock to by us a little bit. But we all can agree that Warlocks are incredibly survivable. In that regard, to Unending Resolve has not been changed, but still a 3-minute cooldown for the 40% DR and the immunity to interrupts and silence effects for 8 seconds. So keep that in mind. So again, I went over to Dreadstalkers, has a 20-second cooldown now, which is up from 15. They still last 12 seconds, but because of the demonic core interaction, you're basically spending 6 shards a minute on average to get 12. Because again, you gain 2 stacks of demonic core per doggo summon, which gives you 4 shards. So that's a lot of shard refunding, I guess, or generation as the rotation goes through. And again, you can couple this with having dooms out that are going to stack on that, 24 to 30 second window of time, depending on your haste, to give you even more if that's the way you want to play. So Demon Bolt and Hand of Ghoulish Daniel, these are your sources of Shadow Flame damage on the Warlock. Implosion does Shadow Flame damage, but this is a mastery scaler. So any of their talents that affect Shadow Flame damage from you, Implosion does not do that because this is a Imp's blow up for shadow damage. You don't deal this damage yourself. And as a side note here, on your actual Felguard, to start going into talents now, your Felguard has its own little spin there, right? It has its Fel Storm. You have a new talent called Demonic Strength here, which tells your Felguard, only your Felguard, to do a 400% increased damage Fel Storm. These override and can cannibalize each other. So, as a rule of thumb, use your Fel Storm or your Demonic Strength first, and then manually cast the other to chain them together, sort of like this. So you can just sort of have your actual Felguard run in. With this Fel Storm, I have the actual other Fel Storm turned off. And then you can toggle it in to the additional Fel Storm. So I know there's like some hubbub about Demon Wrath being gone and the AoE components for, Demonology changing. But between Fel Storm, Demonic Strength, and Implosion, I'm pretty sure your AoE is just fine. Just has a little more interactiveness than just hitting Demon Wrath and walking around and your pet's just farting, right? That's basically all they do. If you want the farts, you can still take Bile Scourge Bombers, which right now, as a blanket, before we go into deeper talents here, there's a lot of balancing problems with your talents right now, where numerically, there's basically you pick one and you forget the rest. But overall, don't worry about that. Think about what plays and what is fun about the talents, because the numbers are going to come eventually. So, talent-wise now, I'm going to show off a couple of builds here. I want to show off Bile Scourge Bombers have a real animation now, which is much better than it used to be. It used to look like complete crap. So they summon here. It's instant, but does cost 2 soul shards, 30-second cooldown. But it's basically a Demonology Warlock Blizzard. Mobile. All these are mobile, right? Demonic Strength's also mobile. You just buff your pet and your pet goes in and does its thing. But you get 2 casts of Bile Scourge Bombers per minute versus the 1 cast per minute Demonic Strength. But Demonic Strength is free, but obviously it requires your Felguard. So if you actually have to use a different pet, then you can't use Demonic Strength. On that note, outside of the Felguard being the de facto pet for the Demonology Warlock because of its extra synergies and its extra damage back-end scaling because of the abilities it actually has, overall, the pets for Hunters and Warlocks, the baseline pets, this excludes exotics, and the Felguard, all do the same damage. So if you need to use your Imp, because your Imp still has Blood Pact, which is the extra stamina increase, and of course has the Cauterize, the Singe Magic, right? Then you can use that. Their damage will be a little bit weaker than your Felguard, but the Fel Hunter, the Imp, and the Succubus are all the same damage. All their damage ranges will be the same. So you can look at your pet here, your Shadow Bite. Oh, well, great. The tooltip's broken. It says 0 damage. Wonderful. Thanks, Blizzard. But These are all the same. We've looked at these all when we do some target dummy testing. It'll run over here and start smacking the dummy. So 475 on the Shadow Bite. We'll recall this and we'll summon our Imp real quick here just to show you the actual damage range. The overall DPS they will do will be nearly identical. The Imp's going to cast spells and only cast spells, but doesn't have an auto attack, right? So this 634 fire damage, the physical plus the shadow damage will all be really close together. That's obviously all it does, right? Just casts that fireball. And then your Succubus here as well. Your Succubus has like the Lash of Pain and auto attacks. So they're all going to be really close together overall. So the physical damage, that's a crit obviously there. So physical and the same 475 shadow damage. So depending on their utility and their damage, they're all really close together. All the hunter pets have the same auto attack and the same bite, claw, whatever. So you can use those now for their utility, right? You can mez with your Succubus there. The Voidwalker is a little different, but the Voidwalker also spam AoEs, so its overall damage looks less. But by default, it also just spam it, just AoEs like this every attack. So its damage is a little bit different. But it's because you're not going to use this as a... You can use this technically, I don't know, for whatever reason, but you're going to want to use your Felguard because it actually has the same threatening presence and whatnot. But the Voidwalker could be tankier than the Felguard just because of its innate abilities, like its own, its shield wall and stuff like that. So you're still going to use the Felguard. Now, other talents. You have Dread Lash, which is essentially just Stomp for the Demonology Warlock. So when your Dreadstalkers charge into battle, their Dread Bite attack, which is not listed, back to the whole bad tooltip thing. When your Dreadstalkers are summoned, they actually have a attack that they do when they land on the target. I'm in combat still, somehow. Not sure how. Help me. Still in combat. This is still a bug on the beta where the target dummies like to keep you in combat forever. Let's run away and then take our portal back, I guess. This kind of hinders my testing. What is actually happening right now? Why am I still in combat? I don't have... Inner demons get you stuck in combat forever. But I'm not sure why I'm still in combat right there. We go. That's, no big deal. Just run back. So, Dread Lash is a AoE on your Dreadstalker's summon that increases the damage of their actual Dread Bite when they land on the target dummy. And you see it does AoE quite nicely, but you only get, 3 summons of your Dreadstalkers a minute. Let me stop, killing myself here. So that's fine. Passive, summonable AoE, Demonic Strength is the activatable one, and then Bile Scourge Bombers is the, drop Blizzard kind of thing. We already went over Doom. Power Siphon is that you sacrifice 2 of your Imps to give you charges of Demonic Core. It's 1 charge per Imp. So this is a mobility tool. So let me sacrifice my Imps. And there's 2 charges of Demonic Core. Or Burst tool. Burst, or it basically turns 2 soul shards into 4 soul shards. It's also a soul shard generator on a 30-second cooldown. And Demonic Calling. Shadow Bolt and Demon Bolt have a 20% chance to make your next call Dreadstalkers cost 1 less soul shard and have no cast time. I'm sort of building a layout here to show you what a crazy turrety build looks like. So there's Power Siphon done. We have Vile Fiend down here. We'll keep Vile Fiend for now. The other 2 talents are quite easy to go over. Vile Fiend is a 2-second cast time, 45-second cooldown, 1 soul shard. Just summons a Vile Fiend to attack your target for 15 seconds. It's an extra summoned pet. Soul Strike is basically just Demonology Warlock kill command. So it works fine. A 10-second cooldown, generates 1 soul shard. It makes your Felguard deal additional shadow damage. But you do yell as the Demonology Warlock. So if you want to have kill command as a Demonology Warlock, then please feel free. But obviously, again, this is completely mobile because you can do it while you're running around. Don't have to do anything with it like summoning a Vile Fiend or whatnot. So that could work. It also has components with your Tyrant where you're buffing your pet, having your pet deal more damage when maybe you can't deal more damage. So, but that is Soul Strike. And then from the shadows is that casting your Call of Dreadstalkers causes the target to take 20% additional Shadow Flame damage from the Warlock. Not Implosion, but the Warlock, so Hand of Gul'dan and your Demon Bolts, for the next 12 seconds. So this is sort of a DPS window cooldown rotational bit where you can hold your Demonic Core charges, up to 4 of them, and weave them in and out between Hand of Gul'dan's and Demonic Cores on a single target to do a little bit extra burst damage. We'll go back to Vile Fiend over here, because again, we're building a little, little layout here. We'll grab your Grimoire Felguard. This is a 90-second cooldown where you summon an additional Felguard that deals double damage to attack the target for 25 seconds. And when it lands on the target, it'll do the stun. Inner Demons will show off a little bit. This just randomly summons imps, and when you're in combat, which doesn't say on the tooltip, every 10 seconds you get a wild imp, and these happen all the time. In combat, however, there's a 10% chance to also summon an additional demon to fight for you for 15 seconds. These can be any slew of demons that are on the Nether Portal bucket. This can summon Jaraxxus and Prince Malchezaar. Both of these can, obviously on a very low chance because they're in a bucket of a whole bunch of other crap demons. And then Soul Conduit is moved over here, nerfed to 15%. Again, here are your talents on live, just to see it back and forth again on where talents have been moved. Demonic Consumption is basically Thalkeel's Consumption, which your Demonic Tyrant will destroy and absorb the remaining power of all of your wild imps to empower itself. I think the best I've done with this is you can have him eat 10, depending on procs. Excuse me. You can have 10 wild imps out. A brand new fresh wild imp is, I think, 12% damage, down to nearly 1% depending on energy on the wild imps. But you can put a lot of damage into the actual tyrant, so I'll show that off in a moment. Sacrificed Souls, going back for the actual talents you had before. This is basically your Demon Bolt, the old version, reworked, that you gain 5% additional damage per demon you have summoned that buffs your Shadow Bolts and Demon Bolts. So that playstyle, quite literally, summon a whole bunch of Zoo, and then your Demon Bolts rotation and your Shadow Bolts just do more damage. But anyway, a baseline sort of summoner build here. I'm not going to show off Nether Portal in this, just what a rotation looks like. And this is going to be a bit of a longer video if you already didn't notice that. We're at 30-ish minutes right now. I have still more to go over because it's a really reworked spec. So opener, we're most likely probably looking at a Demon Bolt to go to 5. And then we'll summon this. I don't know how... Oh, get in there. What are you doing, you madman? We need one more. I think I can clip this at the end of the actual Dreadstalker cast. Ah, I did not. They faded away. If you do the whole opener fast enough, you can actually snapshot your Dreadstalkers that were already out, so you can have Dreadstalkers out when your Dreadstalkers are out. But here I'm just going to show you the upkeep that you have to sort of manage with this build. I did snapshot my Vile Fiend and whatnot there, which was pretty good. Oh, that was a waste. We'll do that. We'll go back to 3 one more time. We have 1 Demon Bolt charge for our instant cast dogs. That's Demonic Calling working there. Go back to more imps. It all depends on what kind of procs you get with your... Let's go actually to 4 here. Yep. 4 back into 3 again. And we'll do this to go 1 into 1. Get the Vile Feed in there. The Demonic Calling proc is up nearly all the time, which feels quite good. We'll do 6 imps back and forth here. And we'll do 4, 1 more imp, and then our dogs are ready. Off by like a half a GCD there. Not too bad. And then one more time, we're waiting for our Demonic Tyrant to come back around. Go back to 5. Go back to 5. Again, you can move around when you're doing this. Get our dogs. Demonic Tyrant's coming back up. Let's get this guy out there. Let's go with 1 more Imp summon to go to 4, so we can do 3. Vile Fiend, Tyrant. There we go. I did snapshot my... Did I get them again? I did not get them again. Dang it. Whoops. That's a fat finger. Back to 3 again here. So you can see that this turret style and the summoner fantasy of the Demonology Warlock is quite a bit better than the summon buff nonsense you have on live right now. A whole lot better. A whole lot better. I think even, I don't even like playing ranged classes. This is a lot more fun and min-maxable engaging. There's this ladder to keep climbing on and how you can snapshot with Demonic Tyrant the duration of your, again, you want to like Dreadstalker sort of towards the tail end of your summoning ritual. So you can Tyrant into the last 2 seconds or so, giving 15 more seconds to your Dreadstalkers, and then you can re-Dreadstalkers when the Dreadstalkers are out, which layers demonic core charges for more of this. So, and that just cycles more soul shards. It's a lot of fun. It's not too bad. It's a lot of fun. So now Inner Demons. I'll grab Inner Demons here real quick when Felguard comes off of cooldown, and then I'll grab Demonic Consumption here. I'll show up Nether Portal once I do this one last build here, because I'm not a fan of this. This is like probably the weakest worthwhile talent that could be worthwhile. Right now it's just not very good. Inner Demons, you'll start summoning your imps because Imp Swarm is not a thing. We'll keep Demonic Consumption now. We'll go with Demonic Strength here. Yeah, Demonic Strength. And we'll keep Demonic Calling just because this just feels really good. All right, and we'll keep Vile Fiend because you always want to summon more demons, right? For Demonic Consumption. And Demonic Strength then is used when you summon the extra damage that your Tyrant gains. He still does the 15% blanket on all your current demons, which will basically just be your Felguard at this point and your Vile Fiend, because again, he's going to eat all your imps. The whole 15% extra damage, though, you could put that 15% extra into any, if you get an additional demon summon from Inner Demons, or of course you put that into the Demonic Strength's Fellstorm window, and of course you're buffing your Vile Fiend. So let's go to 5. I don't know if I can actually do this depending on procs right off the gate here, but we'll definitely see. I don't think I'm gonna have enough time unless I don't have a proc already lined up. So let's just get, yeah, see, I wait for my Dreadsteeds to come back around. So rip my Vile Fiend. Okay, so he can go to 5 here, and we can do 1 back-to-back. We can do this one back-to-back, and the Dreadstalkers, and this, and then we can Tyrant. Oh, I should have Tyranted first. There we go. He gained 63% damage. Not too bad. If you get lucky enough with your procs, you can actually probably get 10 demons out. That's what I said earlier. Because if you can Hand of Gul'dan 3 times in a row and have your 1 or 2 demons out from Inner Demons here, then that'll give you 10 stacks. But again, there's going to be like a total ceiling on how much extra damage you can give your Demonic Tyrant with Demonic Consumption. The one thing about that is that it's not like Thalkiel in the sense that it eats everything, and it only does single target damage, right? It only buffs your Tyrant, but the Tyrant does quite a bit of damage. In that one little bit right there, the Tyrant was doing this. So that was 16% of my damage during that period of time. He has 2 different abilities. He has Demon Fire Blast, which is a cooldown, and then Demon Fire, which is his auto attack, basically. So quite a bit of damage when you amplify the crap out of it. Obviously super bursty, very straightforward in that regard. Get a lot of imps out depending on layering your Demon Core, and then you get your Tyrant out there doing a whole bunch of damage for burst. And now I'll end this whole back and forth with Nether Portal. And Nether Portal can work so many better ways. It can just summon demons based on soul shards spent, or maybe soul shards gained, or maybe have like a Breath of Syndragosa mechanic to it. But right now it costs 3 soul shards, has a 2.5 second cast time. When it opens the portal, it lasts for 20 seconds and summons 1 random demon on a 3-minute cooldown. And the way it works now is that every time you spend soul shards, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 20, whatever. So basically in this case, 1. You will also command demons from the Nether to come out and fight for you. This is a weird rotation that more or less all you're doing to maintain the benefit of this is Nether Portal, Hand of Gul'dan, Shadow Bolt, Hand of Gul'dan, Shadow Bolt, Hand of Gul'dan, Shadow Bolt, instant cast Dreadstalkers at 1, Shadow Bolt, Hand of Gul'dan, and yes, you can tyrant these. All these demons can be tyranted. So I actually snapshotted a handful of demons there. We have like an Urzul in there, and a Satyr, and an Imulthar Pupper, and a whole bunch of stuff. My Dreadstalkers are in there also. So it works, but the rotation of one Shadow Bolt, one Soul Shard Hand of Gul'dan, which is basically the whole like summon pets, demonic empowerment, summon pets, demonic empowerment, summon pets, demonic empowerment madness from live. Ugh. So, but again, I went over this in the VOD. If this is the only bad talent so far, and you're going to see me getting stuck in combat forever because of inner demons now. If this is the only bad talent and can easily be hopefully fixed and tweaked a little bit, maybe they can fix this. But your other talents and your layouts here, once they fix the math behind them, all work. You can have this crazy bursty-oriented build. You can go like Soul Strike into Demonic Strength, the Demonic Consumption, and go like really pet-focused. You can have the From the Shadows build, where you're timing maybe some Power Siphons and your Demonic Cores and your Hand of Gul'dans into this From the Shadows window. You can have a very sort of simple Dreadlash, Demonic Calling, and then Felguard, and then Sacrificed Souls, Vile Fiend build, where you just get a whole bunch of demons out, and your base damage goes up, and all your demons are out there, and they do their own thing. So there's build potential here if they get the numbers right. Because right now, Demonic Strength, way too powerful. And Demonic Calling, way too powerful. Vile Fiend is out of control scaled right now, way too powerful. All right, the extra Felguard is super strong because you can snapshot it with the Tyrant window and all this kind of stuff, right? So they have to get the numbers right, which is later on down the road. But overall, that is the Demonology Warlock. I will go over your war mode stuff real quick here because we're already at like 42 minutes. War mode is enabled in Stormwind and Orgrimmar. You gain 15% additional XP from doing world quests and doing, well, 15% additional rewards from world quests. You get 15% additional XP from doing quests and killing mobs on the way up for leveling. You also gain additional honor from killing members of the opposite faction. You will be turned into an assassin for your faction. If you go on a 10 kill streak without dying, you gain 15% additional damage and healing when you are an assassin rank. And adversely, if you kill an assassin on the enemy team, you will gain more additional bonus honor. You get to pick one of your medallion talents here. And then you get to pick any of your warlock talents that competed with each other. You can just pick any 3 of them. So I picked Observer, Fel Lord, and Master Summoner. So these are all the exact same as they are on live. So you can take your 3 different curse talents. You can take your 3 different defensive talents. You can take your additional Singe Magic, Fel Hunter, and Pleasure Through Pain for your Succubus talents. You can take all of these. You can build whatever you'd like to. And these are all going to be available in any open world area where you have war mode toggled, and any, of course, battlegrounds, arena, PvP sections. They will not be available to you in dungeons. They'll be available in PvP islands, I am pretty sure. And these just add whatever kind of additional build you would like to, right? So again, Master Summoner, always instant Dreadstalkers now for any open world content, PvP islands, wherever you're at. You can get that Call Fel Lord in there. You can do Call Observer. Again, you can take Nether Ward, Essence Drain, all this stuff. You can go check out what these all do, of course, on a talent calculator. They're all the same. You can be Super Troll and take all 3 curses. That would be, yeah, okay. Super just CC oriented. Really crazy. All that can be there for you. Pick and choose your build. So again, the global cooldown is the one over earlier. Everything's on the GCD except casting your Fellstorm on your... Oh, I got in combat because I attacked the dummy. And then turning off Burning Rush is off the GCD. So everything else for Demonology is just a cast. You're used to that, though. If you play Demonology, everything is a cast. And the overall GCD Doom and Gloom changes do not affect you at all. And to summarize again, I hope they fix the numbers here. So getting these builds to work where it's like a super summon focus build or a super imp focus build or AoE, all that stuff comes down to numbers. Hopefully they get that tuned for you. Handful of build options, barring numbers. Talents are not balanced very well against each other right now. Hopefully those get fixed. As a side note, right now, Not was talking about how there's sort of like an opener they're working on right now because of how Demonic Strength is so powerful. So you'd like Fellstorm on your, you know, your Felguard at the same time. You're getting 2 sets of imps out. your Dreadstalkers, Vile Fiend, Tyrant into Demonic Strength. So all those things can be sort of found out in the Warlock Discord for how they're figuring out openers or build options or how paths could work out there. So go check them out there. But that's going to be it for me. I am done rambling. I think my little end card here was that I wanted to bring up that fact that I don't know why we don't have a pet window anymore. Can we get a pet window back? Does anyone miss the pet window? If you made it all the way through the video, let me know down below if you missed having the pet window to actually see your pet's stats. Because you're a pet class, but you can't see any of this? Blizzard? Why was this taken out? I don't know. But again, thank you very much for watching. If you would like to follow my Twitch channel, link is down below in the description box if you want to be there for all the testing yet to come for Warlocks or every other second pass. Or, of course, all of the actual live shows. I can't think right now. The live shows that we're going to be, of course, doing Warlock shows for and Mage, Rogue, all that kind of stuff. We have MDI shows coming up. So again, check out my Twitch channel, link down below. Throw it a follow if you want to be there for all the live content coverage. That would mean a lot. And of course, your viewership here on YouTube is greatly appreciated. If you're new to the channel, consider hitting subscribe or that bell icon next to subscribe, because that is the real sub button now because of YouTube things. Again, thank you all for sticking with me through this huge rambling mess of the Demonology Warlock. A whole lot has changed. Let me know what you think of it down in the comments down below, and I will see you all in the next Battle for Azeroth Beta Second Pass video. Oh my goodness gracious.